political power panel, Republican strategist Aaron Evans and Democratic strategist Theryn Boyd. Great to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to be on.
And Theryn, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk again about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth now telling his employees to listen to Elon Musk's email directive. Musk is defending his controversial cuts while appearing on the Joe Rogan podcast. Let's take a listen to that, and I'll let you react, Theryn.
The problem that I see with all this DOGE stuff, because everybody should be celebrating that we've found a way to cut out fraud and waste.
Yeah.
If you pay taxes and you don't like that you have to pay so much in taxes, and then you find out that there's significant fraud and waste that's been exposed, you should be celebrating it.
Theryn, I'm sure you can agree that there is waste that needs to be eliminated. What do you think about the way that it's being done?
I think President Donald Trump needs to decide whether he wants people to listen to Elon Musk as an official appointee or whether Ms. Gleason is the official administrator of DOGE. But he needs to pick and decide, because for anyone to ask anybody that's a government worker to respond to any requests by Elon Musk, well, who are they responding to? Who's the leader? Who's the director? If he is that, then clarify him as that, mention that, and have people refer to him as such, and have him do those confirmation hearings and that background check as well, and have him eliminate any conflicts of interest. But otherwise, then people need to know who exactly is running DOGE and who they need to listen to. And if we want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, then let's start with Elon Musk and those number of conflicts of interest he has through various contracts to the tune of billions of dollars that he has under his various companies. That would be an excellent start versus firing the American people, some of which who also voted for President Donald Trump, and them losing their jobs for the sake of this waste, fraud, and abuse.
Aaron, I'll let you weigh in on those conflicts of interest, but also about Hegseth initially telling employees to pause on complying with Musk's email initially. So why do you make, or what do you make of this change of course here? Don't reply, now reply.
Yeah, look, I think there's an alignment happening right now across the administration to make sure that these priorities that President Trump ran on, that the American people fully backs, and and really, you know, the mandate that the American people gave the Trump administration to get this wasteful spending and to get our trillions, you know, in debt under control. And I think we're seeing the administration really, you know, align behind these efforts. And I think, I mean, they're already finding massive ways to save taxpayers money through waste, fraud, and abuse. And so, you know, and look, and I think as far as like the you know, the left narrative of who's really running the show, look, I mean, we don't even know who. When you look back at the former administration, I mean, we don't even really know who was running the show when President Biden was in office. You know, as we've kind of learned how out of it he really was in the last few months of his administration. So, you know, I think that at the end of the day, both parties should be excited that there's actual real activity happening to get our financial situation under control. And it's not just about, you know, fixing the finances now, but it's fixing the finances for our children and our grandchildren and the next generation.
Well, we are looking forward to Donald Trump on Tuesday night. Folks can watch it right here at 8 o'clock Eastern when he delivers his first speech to Congress of his second term. And Michigan Senator Elissa Slotkin has been tapped by the Democrats to deliver their response to Trump's congressional address. Who is the future of your party, Theryn?
I hate to say it, but Senator Slotkin is not the best person to give the Democratic rebuttal. She doesn't represent the constituency that Democrats desperately need to win back over. She's a self-proclaimed moderate, and that's where we lost out on a number of people this last election cycle, is not speaking directly to our base. If we talk about people who are engaging in bold and speaking proudly, loudly, and boldly, then Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett would have been better suited for the rebuttal. She's going to bring the bold, fiery punch that Democrats desperately need. People are tired of hearing Democrats sit idly by and be walked over by Republicans. They're ready for somebody to fight back. And unfortunately, Senator Slotkin is not that person.
All right, yeah, politics definitely has a different look. It's always been a wild ride, but it's grab your cowboy hat. Republican strategist Aaron Evans, Democratic strategist Theryn Boyd, really appreciate your time today. That's all the time we have. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.